In Consumer Watch, the EPA is once again considering a ban of potentially deadly chemical found in paint strippers. Earlier this year, CBS News reported how the Trump administration was backing away from banning methylene chloride. The Obama administration's EPA first proposed the ban, saying the chemical posed an unreasonable risk. But the pressure from families who lost a loved one is being credited for influencing the agency to consider the ban again. Anna Werner has been following this story, and she is here with me now. Anna, so what have you learned covering the story? How dangerous is this chemical?
You know, the thing about methylene chloride in paint strippers, first of all, is that consumers buy these products off the shelf, and they really do not know. I didn't know how deadly this is and how quickly you can die. Especially in an enclosed space, they're incredibly dangerous because it takes mere minutes for you to be overcome by these fumes, which get into the air very rapidly, and before you know it, you've lost consciousness, and then you die. I mean, it literally can take just minutes.
I remember seeing in some of your earlier reporting somebody who was using this chemical to strip some paint, and they were not in an enclosed room.
Right.
There was some air circulating, and they still got sick.
Right. I mean, when they talk about air circulation and safety for this chemical, what they're not talking about, they say adequate ventilation. Well, what is adequate ventilation?
People think that means a window open.
Open a window. In this case, opening a window is not going to be enough. And the actual equipment that you would need to make sure that you're safe would involve a forced oxygen device connected to a hose, running outside. People don't have these devices.
Not those like paper masks that you see construction workers using.
They don't work. And you know why they don't work, Vlad? Is because these are vapors. Vapors penetrate through a paper mask. Even those masks with the two sort of circles on the sides that you see, people think those are safe. It's the same thing. It's not safe. Those might prevent particulate matter and that kind of thing, but not the vapors from getting in and you breathing them.
So the ban was previously proposed under President Obama's administration, and then the Trump administration sort of backed away from that until now.
Right. So what happened was the EPA came out very, very strongly in its analysis of this chemical, saying, bottom line, this chemical poses an unreasonable risk because so many people have died over the years from this chemical, both in consumer and professional uses. And they literally said, it's too risky to have on the market. We need to get rid of it. Well, so then the ban was proceeding forward. There was a lot of work done on this by EPA scientists and others, very thorough. I've read the whole document. It's like this. And then the administration changed, and suddenly the new EPA said in December, well, actually they signaled, okay, we're backing off the ban. And environmental advocates said, look, what they're basically doing is they're shoving it into the attic where regulations go to die. They're never seen again. So all of a sudden this week, this is a surprise coming from the EPA. Suddenly they have reversed course yet again and said, they're basically signaling it now, okay, yes, we are going to go ahead with the ban as was originally proposed. So why is that? Why the flip-flops? Well, they've been getting a lot of pressure from some members in Congress, but also from these families. You know, the families we've interviewed, these mothers who've lost their sons who were in their 20s, in their 30s, and literally lost them in a heartbeat.
So we actually have some sound from people who've been advocating on behalf of banning this substance. Let's play that.
So you were worried this was going to be delayed and then potentially buried.
The families that stood up and said enough is enough here made a difference. They were able to appeal to this to members of Congress on both sides of the aisle to demonstrate this was not a partisan fight between environmentalists and industry. It was something that was taking human lives across the country.
You were talking there to Richard Dennison of the Environmental Defense Fund. What was the process like for these families?
Well, the process is first the shock and horror, learning that your son or brother, sibling has died, not understanding why. Nobody knows that this chemical can kill you. So in many cases, they were found by family members. I spoke with the mother of the most recent man known to have died. He died in February. He was 31 years old. Yesterday, we spoke with his mom, Lauren Atkins, who told us she had no idea. And when, in fact, she found him in the house and had no idea why he had died. So first you have that. Then, typically, as we all do, they go out on the internet because somebody says to them, the coroner or the cops, or somebody says, well, you know, we think maybe the paint stripper had something to do with it. And pretty much uniformly, these families are like, you know, I didn't understand that, so I went out on the internet. They start researching, and they learn that other people have died, and they learn that methylene chloride exposure to this chemical was the cause, and then they get mad. Or they want, you know, or they want action, you know, and they've been going to their members of Congress, and now you have, unfortunately, you have a club that no mother wants to be a part of, but these mothers have now formed a group, and all of them, down to every one of them, have told me, we are not letting this go. We are not going to let this go until this chemical is banned. They're not going to hear the end of us. We're not going to shut up. And I think that that's part of what's been happening here. They are going out there making this very public. You know, we've done 3 stories. This is our 4th story on this, you know, sort of keeping attention on this. But you can't do those stories without these families being willing to talk about it. And they have all made conscious decisions. They are going to talk about this, even though it's painful, to warn other people so other people don't die unnecessarily, and also to put the pressure on the agency. And it appears at this point that the agency has now flipped back and is going to proceed with the ban, and that is a big, significant thing. They're going to have to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't get watered down.
Right.
But as Dennison from the Environmental Defense Fund, they've been pushing this, has said, this is significant.
So we'll be watching to see if they follow through. Anna Werner, great reporting. Thank you very much.